What's going on, Chooms? JonJonTheWise here, and you are listening to the Tabletop Cyberpunk podcast, and I have some amazing guests with me here today to talk about PAX and all the other amazing things that they've been doing. I have with me James Hutt, Rob Barefoot, and Cody Pondsmith from Talsorian Games. What's up, guys?
Hey, everybody.
Hey. Morning.
So yeah,
happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays. We got the boys.
Happy holidays.
We got the boys in town. We got the boys here. We're here to talk about PAX. I'm sure you guys had a wonderful time over there. And, that's it for the intro. We can just get into it. You know what I mean?
Go ahead.
No. Yeah, please take over.
I was just going to say, PAX was great this year. It was big, but, having just come out of, I think, like the largest Gen Con that we've ever had, it was nice to go back to a somewhat smaller convention. I know, Rob, I think it was your first time at Gen Con, was it? That
was my first time at Gen Con and my first time at PAX. And even just with those one time the contrast was huge. Like I did prefer the more chill air of PAX, but there was something electric about Gen Con. I don't know what it
always is.
Oh yeah, it's Gen Con.
Yeah, for sure.
I do wish that they had more entrances to PAX though.
Oh, dude, really? Is everybody funneled in one spot?
It was pretty much one spot for most of the day, so we wound up going around I forgot what I was doing. I think I was getting lunch somewhere. And we went around to one of the entrances that they had last year, and they were like, "Oh no, you have to enter on the other side of the building." I was like, "Oh, okay. I'll just walk to the other side of the convention hall then."
Yeah, which is if you don't have frame reference for the building, like 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, it's huge.
Good 10-minute walk.
Absolutely huge.
I think we got lucky because our hotel was like right beside the actual entrance. We got way too lucky with that. I'm actually very happy with our hotel placement there.
Yeah. Leave it to Lisa, man.
Yeah, so Gen Con was obviously way more folks over there, and then PAX was a little bit more of a contained crowd. What was the overall experience with PAX compared to Gen Con? I'd imagine that it's kind of stressful because you guys are, announcing things, running events. You're not just there for fun, you're there for work. So what was like the difference in that sense?
I actually think that if we're talking about difference between Gen Con and PAX, in that case, PAX is way more chilled out because it's a much smaller convention. No offense, you're comparing it to Gen Con, like the biggest one.
Yeah.
It feels like I get to talk to more people.
I think the PAX crowd is also different. They are actually just like in general, they feel more casual. So like there are more people who don't necessarily know what you're doing, but they're way more willing to just kind of like hang out in your booth and talk,
Yeah. That's cool.
I can agree on that part too, because even the general vibe around PAX that caught me is even when I wasn't in the convention, I was running into people who were going to PAX or at PAX when I was just in restaurants, striking up conversations. And they were immediately in the booth whenever I was back there. People wanted to see what we were up to. And people were open-minded as hell. It was nice.
Yeah.
That is real nice. That's
interesting because like usually you don't meet nerds in the wild. Like you got to go to places to meet them. So when you meet them in the wild, it's a pretty interesting experience. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys could relate, but like my wife will introduce me to somebody or I'll meet like a dad at the park. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, what are the chances that he's got an ounce of nerd in him, dude? That there's like some kind of gaming, and then he's like, "Yeah, I like hiking and kayaking," and I'm like, "God."
Yeah, we need to get like a secret ring that you can wear,
A nerd,
You should see some of Cody's t-shirts.
Yeah,
they're effectively that. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I got the same shirt. Yeah, I got the same shirt. That's funny. Mine is faded though.
I will say the secret nerd side of people really helped me out in Philly alone. Like getting the stuff I did in Philly was just because I found that one nerd in the right spot everywhere. It paid off so much. So yeah, I'm down for a secret ring or code word handshake.
Yeah. Bellar Morgulis or something. That's it, but that's Game of Thrones because then people are like, you know.
Just say like, do you partake, and just leave a die on the bar, and then pick it back up quick.
Or do
I
like
can only imagine.
Yeah.
they say the river runs red in Phandalin, and then like, what's the response?
Oh man, but then we just wind up in a cult, and I'm not sure I have a problem with that, but hey.
Well,
I think
you'll get a lot of gaming done.
T-shirts, guys.
Yeah, t-shirts is
Man, actually,
Is the t-shirts.
Can you imagine how much gaming you get done if you were in a cult?
dude.
That would be, yeah.
I was talking
every
about this
day,
on my
man.
last podcast. I was talking to my buddy about this. Like, it's weird to think this, but imagine you go to prison. The first thing I would do is be like,
Oh,
we're
I'm getting
gaming.
into a D&D game.
Dude, we're gaming nonstop, man.
I've gotten letters from folks in correctional areas who are like, yeah, I really love your game. I was like, that's awesome.
Dude, no way.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that, man. That's interesting. So you got people in prison telling you, hey, we're playing Witcher in here or something like that.
Yeah, to my knowledge, RPGs, RPGs are actually really popular in a lot of prisons. And I got a letter from one guy who was in, I believe, a Texas correctional facility, who sent me this whole long letter on how he was playing Witcher and kind of like how he was enjoying the game. And it was really actually pretty cool.
Hell yeah, dude, that's insane. That's the dream if you think about it. But they can't have dice though, right? They don't let them have dice.
I assume so, but I don't really know.
I could give a little. Oh, go ahead, James. You first.
They have a little series of scraps of paper with a number on it, and it just goes 1 through 10 or 1 through 20, and they just shuffle it up, and it's a blind pull. It works.
That works, yeah. Rob?
So I may say a little bit too much here, but I had a friend who did time, and when he was playing D&D in prison, what they did is they did the classic, like a little piece of cardboard, circle around it with the dice in sections, almost like a Wheel of Fortune, and they would just spin a paperclip.
Nice.
Yeah. See the ingenuity of prison. That's
in a lot of ways.
I actually think Shadow Scar would be a hell of a prison game because it's only 6-sided dice, Cody, and you can make those with Ticonderoga pencils.
Yeah, I guess. All right, there's my next market.
There you go. The prison supplement.
Do 1 through 5 on the dots, and then do little X's for the 6s, so you can easily identify the.
There we go.
There you go.
This guy's ready for prison, dude.
Hopefully not. I don't know.
Yeah. So speaking of Shadow Scar, you guys just did like an awesome Q&A. If you guys haven't checked that out, go to the official Talsorian YouTube channel, and you'll see a great interview by Rob and Cody talking about the game. A lot of people had amazing questions about it. Obviously we don't have to rehash all the same stuff, but if there's anything that you want to elevator pitch to the folks out there real quickly, we just heard it's a D6 system. Anything else that might help us get a grasp on it?
Shadow Scar is the next big game we're working on, the next big line. It is intrigue and espionage across a multiverse of worlds, where you play shinobi agents of a multidimensional secret agency going out and hunting down monsters from Japanese mythology before they cause havoc across this multiverse called the Mosaic. We built the whole thing to be really fast to play. It runs entirely on D6 as a D6 dice pool system. And we're really aiming to get, everybody says, cinematic fast system or whatever, but, there's a reason for that. It's a good way to play.
Yeah, I enjoy that. What made you decide to go full D6, no other dice? Because, a lot of people in the Cyberpunk community have talked about, what if we throw in a D8 or a D12 or a D20 or something in there? And this is a new game, new system. Explain to folks what that's all about.
The goal, the goal was actually just largely accessibility, in that, a dice pool system has very little, additive math. It's very straightforward to make your rolls and figuring out how many successes you get and whatnot, which means the game can kind of run a little faster. And D6s are nice because they're like the only die that people outside of the tabletop industry know, but that means that they're really available. So you can go down to like Bartell's or Walgreens or whatever and pick up a pack of those, bicycle, D6s or whatever, and be set to play. Or, if you're really hard up, you can raid your copies of Monopoly or whatever and get D6s there. So it was mostly about just making the game as accessible as possible to anybody who wants to play it.
Yeah, that makes sense. You could get a D6 at a gas station. I've seen them all over the place. You two guys, Rob and James, I'm sure you guys have played Shadowscar. I'm assuming you guys have played. You guys have any insight on how it feels to play it?
You want to go first, James, or me?
I have it scheduled in my calendar. Cody and I are going to do a swap day. So I've gotten to test a little bits of it, but I haven't gotten to sit down and play a full session. So I'm going to recuse myself from this answer.
Okay.
This Gamma, I got to get him. I haven't gotten a really good chance, especially since, Rob doesn't live near me. So it's harder to snag him.
I'm usually up and kicking like 4 hours for everybody else. I have not gotten a chance to play it yet, but what I have my hand in, I get to see the reactions of people who do, and this is going to be fun. That's all I'm going to say.
Ooh, nice.
I will say that I've been blown out of the water by the response of our playtesters. We've got some really good playtesters on this one.
Yeah, they're going wild. It's great. I'm loving it.
Nice. It's good to hear that people are excited while they're playing the game and all that. Cody, I'm sure you've ran the game for your personal group a few times. Any cool stories that you can lament to us?
I think the coolest in recent memory was I talked about this a little bit on the interview, but I had a game a while ago where the team, it was a 3-person team, and they were infiltrating effectively like the Orient Express in Steel Court, the steampunk setting, which in Steel Court, the Orient Express is this big like super steam train, like hyper luxury, goes, across the world in high luxury or what have you, because they're following this smuggler who was transporting a spirit lantern which held the soul of a dead Shadowscar agent, and they were going to go interrogate them in like a different part of Steel Court. And so it wound up with the players infiltrating this train in disguise, and they had to find the yokai on the train because all the yokai are hidden by their magical masks. And they wound up finding the smuggler, who was a human who had been just hired by these yokai. And they wound up at one point, one of them had an ability called conversationalist, which is once you start a conversation with somebody, they have to make an active resistance check to try and break away from that conversation.
Dude, that's hilarious.
So they're standing like at the door of this person's train car room and like trying to keep them in this conversation while the other one sneaks in like through the window to try and find the goods. And that game eventually, they got caught, but like with the goods. So they wound up with 2 of them up on the roof of the train, like on the roof of the train as the steam train is like barreling through the Alps at night. And it's the classic, like the train is going along one of those cliffside tracks. So it's like, mountain on one side and just open sky on the other. And
Terrifying.
One of them wound up in just like a knife fight with this smuggler on top of the train as it's speeding through the mountains. And, he had the Foley, like, trying to throw people off the train, and, they the struggle for the knife situation, all this. That was a great moment.
Did you have a tunnel moment where they had to duck under the tunnel?
I did not get to the tunnel moment because they wound up disarming the smuggler in that fight before we got to the tunnel. But yeah, it was good. It was really good. I've often with Shadowscar, we're focusing on kind of keeping the rules at a level where they can adjudicate big moments, but that you can focus on the excitement of the conflict. So there's more ability to kind of put the extra focus on like describing the scene and that sort of thing.
So less crunch, more narrative in the gameplay of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy that. I mean, I know some people like crunch, but I think I like the happy middle place.
Yeah,
Just
that's
enough
kind of
crunch.
where we're trying to hit.
Yeah.
It's that's a big task to go for, but we're giving it our best.
So those yokai, are those the creatures or the mythical monsters? That's what they're called?
Yeah, so yokai it's kind of an umbrella term, but it's all of the magical creatures sort of in Japanese mythos, and we use it to describe all of the monsters or like the enemy monsters in Shadowscar. So that's the ones that people recognize like Oni and Kappa and stuff like that, and then that's also like the super weird. We tried to dig in to get some of the ones, get all the ones that people recognize, Kitsune, stuff like that, but also get the ones that people are less familiar with, like Akaname, which are these little sort of gremlin goblin creatures that live in dirty houses and lick grime off of bathrooms. And in the conflict is that, or the challenge is that all of these creatures, no matter how harmless they used to be, are now dangerous opponents. So we have to make all of them feel unique. So like the Akaname, for instance, is able to like crawl around on walls, and it has this long like whipping tongue with barbs on the end. But the worst part of it is that it can exude this like horrible slime, just like from its pores. And it will do this anytime you grab it. And it's just this totally noxious, slippery slime that it can also vomit as like a explosive ball of mucus to just like coat people in this totally nauseating slime. So every yokai theoretically has, well, not theoretically, I've spent a lot of time on this, has abilities that are kind of keyed into what it did in its mythos in a way that will make it an interesting and different fight.
That's interesting. Also, you mentioned that yokai. Sorry if you guys hear a blender in the background. My wife's blending something. But you mentioned yokai can hire NPCs out to do stuff. So they're not just like mindless killing monsters that shoot spit out. They also have some kind of intelligence and motive behind them. What can you give me on insight on that? Because that unlocks like social interactions and stuff like that.
All of the yokai are kind of free enough from their mind control that they are able to retain personality and a little bit more of what they were. They're just pushed towards this goal of large scale destruction. And they all have these magical masks called kamen, which can help them hide and disguise them as people. So actually, oftentimes, yokai will trick trick humans into working with them by pretending to be humans who just need, a favor done, or they're willing to pay a lot of money for a human to do something slightly reputable or what have you. Or because a lot of yokai are born from like totally innocuous things, not taking care of an item for a long period of time or something like that. It may be that a human is approached by another person, as far as they can tell, to do something totally innocuous for a bunch of money.
Mm-hmm.
And of course they do it because, you know,
Who wouldn't?
why not?
Yeah.
And then they wind up creating more yokai. One of our favorites in this is the Akirio, which is the concept of living ghosts, which can be formed by powerful negative emotions. So the yokai will do this thing where they'll find a person who's already having a bad time and then subtly infiltrate that person's life and just make it worse and worse and worse, with a focus on a specific thing or a specific person. So they'll push that person to have just a really, truly unreasonable hatred for somebody, like maybe a political figure or something. And then eventually that person will manifest an Akirio, which goes to destroy that person or thing. So they'll basically just like slip into your life, make it terrible until you summon a terrible monster and then disappear again.
So is that by their very nature they're like that, or is that because they have limitations and they're like, you know, I need help, like I can't do all the things. I need a human that I can trick because I'm limited to something.
In most circumstances, it's limitation. It's sometimes done to keep the agency from figuring out what's going on, but it's also done because, you know, these yokai were part of one army and they got split up across a bunch of dimensions. So, you know, there's maybe 2,000 yokai in Steel Court, for instance, which is a lot, but when you compare it to the entire population of the British Empire, you know, it's nothing.
Yeah.
So they can't really afford to go all out because there's just not enough of them to really like take over the planet, you know.
Yeah. That's interesting, man. I like that. It's very intriguing that they're not just a monster manual monster that does like a quirky little thing. They're like ingrained in the universe, and it sounds like the players are kind of like the Men in Black going around the multiverse and taking care of these things because somebody has to do it, and they're far too unchecked. It's a bad slippery slope, right?
Yeah. That's kind of the goal.
Yeah, that's cool, man. It leaves a lot of room for creativity, which I know you're working on the homebrew policy for that, because or whatever you said, you're working on some kind of homebrew thing. So yeah, I wish you luck with that, because it leaves a lot of room for what I was suggesting, like other pantheons, other mythical creatures and stuff like that, you know. So that would be really fun. All right, well, yeah, Shadow Scar, you guys definitely go to our Talsorian Games on their social media. Rob's doing a great job over there, making sure everybody knows what's up, so he'll make sure that you guys know any news about it. There's already been like really big previews about the various worlds in the Mosaic, like Steam Court and some of the other ones you could find on their blog posts, so definitely go check that out. Intriguing, fun. And I know you guys have been working on some other games. I don't know if they've been announced or talked about or anything like that, but I know there's stuff going on. I don't know if you can talk about it, James.
I know one of them that's been announced.
Yeah, we're working on a game called Cyberpunk.
Oh, yeah. I think I've heard of it.
Come on, James.
You know, still plenty of awesome games to be had but playing the Witcher TRPG as well.
Yes.
We're giving Shadow Scar its time in the sun now, before fossilized violence reigns.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Supreme as Talsorian's premium new game.
I'm not getting between this one. I'm keeping out of this one.
It's sort of the opposite idea to Shadow Scar in many ways. They're not, by the way, fighting. There's no competition going on, of course.
Ooh, I want to see blood.
A company can make multiple games at a time without them inherently hating each other. We're gonna just love and respect each other. That's what we're gonna do here, right, Cody?
Yeah.
Good.
I sense some tension, Rob.
So anyway, Fossilized Violence is a role-playing game, spelled LL, not LE. So it's much more of a crunchy rolling dice game with fun, crunchy dice rolling, turn by turn, and it's a lot of you fighting a dinosaur as a caveman in a group and fighting these really pitched, almost boss battle fights, and then traveling in between those. And then slowly progressing a cave civilization through different new things you learn how to make. So if, for example, you get eaten by a T-Rex, which happens a lot, you might not feel the total sting of that. Like you were playing an very old game called Rogue. Somewhat like that, like a rogue. Like
a roguelike.
Yeah.
Like a roguelike.
People sometimes forget where that term comes from.
Well, it's roguelite, roguish. I don't even know what's going on,
this is a whatever. This is a rogue whatever. We're not concerned with names here. We're concerned with cavemen fighting dinosaurs. We're concerned with a figure agnostic system where you can put your dinosaur toys from your childhood on your game table and then fight them against your pathetic D&D miniatures.
That's great.
And the scale is, I've got the big T-Rex. And the world is sort of scaled in that manner as well. The T-Rexes are big. The Stegosauruses are pretty big, oddly somewhat near the size of the T-Rex, because it's a game about taking that childhood wonder of physical play and making a more mature take on it with some serious violence. I will say the game has more than so every dinosaur has its own critical injury table, unique to it. So a T-Rex isn't going to do the same stuff as a Stegosaurus when it critically injures you. And the game is so you like critical injuries a lot of the time.
What's the Brontosaurus meta right now? What's going on with that?
Brontosaurus is pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
Mamenchosaurus is a little bit bigger and a little bit cooler, but they're both in the game.
Are there bonuses to making dinosaur noises? Do you get a bonus to hit if you say "rawr"?
Actually, if you're a player and you make caveman noises, you can get the inspiration equivalent resource. It doesn't do what inspiration does. They're called violence points. They do actual things that you would want. And they can do one of three things. They can turn and I'm not going to explain what any of these are because we don't have time. They can turn a crit that you're inflicting into a super crit. They can downgrade a super crit you're about to take into a crit. So maybe don't be caught dead without one violence point. And they can re-roll incoming damage and take the lower of the two.
Ooh, I like.
So they're a very, very survivally. They're a survival-based resource that you can also expend to do violence.
Yeah.
Hence, violence points.
Are we at a place where you feel comfortable talking about some of the special items?
We have
those are very cool.
We have a lot of items in the game.
Really?
Like a lot.
Big stick, bigger stick.
We have big rock and bigger rock. We do not measure sticks in that manner.
Okay, well that's for the DLC.
Perhaps
the big stick DLC.
Yeah, the big stick DLC.
No, a lot of the game is about kitting out your character and your loadout or whatnot, and sort of what you're wearing basically makes your character. There's not progression in the sense of, well, you grow up from an adolescent to an adult, and you get some stat bonuses from that, just for surviving your first go around. But then after that, you're sort of you're not really paying for anything with money because you're the warrior. You come back and they're like, I made you a spear.
Yeah, yeah.
what do you think I've been doing this whole time?
Reputation.
You know what I mean?
It's reputation, trade, stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. Cool. You're reputable enough that people want to help you because, you bring back meat. You know, you're part of the hunting party. You're not coming back and going, how much can I sell this for? Because the concept of currency, I don't think has been invented yet.
No.
So
your
in that way
is your power, right?
But that doesn't mean there isn't tons of stuff. We've got I don't know. I know we have enough such that there's like easily more than 100 pieces of gear. I don't know that off the top of my head, but there's enough for that every quest in the game has a unique reward, and there's different quests for every season in different villages.
Yeah.
So there's a lot.
Interesting. That sounds like a lot of fun. It's a fun that I like that complexity of like the crunch and the items, put it together, and it's simple role playing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because it's a simple time, so you don't have to worry about all the modern things that are going on in the world. It's just human connection, the weather, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it should be easy to get into. It should be easy to get started and play. And in addition to items and the complexity of building the character, there's going to be a system where you retire if you survive a certain number of to a certain age equivalent. You win enough times and you don't die, but you still complete the missions.
Yeah.
You get to become an elder, and then you sort of retire that character, and they become essentially a permanent buff on that civilization.
Oh, interesting. That's cool.
The survival of your character is also beneficial. You're not just and then when you come back to town and you interact with that person has to role play as the villager as well.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of funny.
That's cool. So you
become the, if you become one of the counselors and you come back to town, the GM might go, okay, you're the one, you're actually the one that this quest is you're the quest giver. Your old character is the quest giver. That's cool.
That's fun.
I think that's fun.
Yeah, sounds like you guys are having a good time over there. I'm excited to check that out when it comes out.
We are having a raucous good time at Talsorian these days.
That's good. Well, we are
in a good era.
The best era
at the moment.
We're in the James has a beard era. That's how I know it's a good era. Let's get back to PAX, talking about your experience there. I wanted to know if you guys played any other games over there or had time to, or talk to folks. Did you go to a booth, see something that you hadn't seen before? I mean, that's the juice. I have major FOMO every time you guys go out and do that. And you got to let me know what's the dirty details. Rob, you've been quiet over there. I want to hear from you, man.
I don't want to talk about how much I spent on dice. I don't want to talk about that.
Jesus.
I was just looking over like I need to. Since it was my first PAX as media ambassador, and I was just pretty much still, getting in the flow of things, I spent a lot of time talking to people. I met so many folks that were part of the industry, people coming in, people curious about our game. And I spent most of my time either in interview or just in straight meetings. But when I did get to wander the floor, there were a few booths that, of course, I had to visit. Norse Foundry, Q Workshop, Level Up Dice. Just you think the Dice PTRPG name was, just something funny. No, I like collecting dice. I can't help myself. And there were a few that I wish I could have spent more time at, but I didn't get much chance to. And unfortunately, the last day I did not get a lot of time to do a lot due to other reasons, which I'm embarrassed to admit. But I have learned a very important lesson after PAX. If anybody from Artel says to eat or not to eat it somewhere, listen to them. That's what I've learned. I've learned that. Yeah. But as for booths and stuff like that or any games, didn't get a chance to play any games, but spent a lot of time meeting folks, and the booths I did visit, all of them were awesome. All of them were cool.
So more socializing than actually getting to play, because I know Gen Con, it's nearly impossible unless you're running an event where you're playing, running games. But to go and like recreationally play, it's kind of like nearly impossible. I wondered if you guys had that opportunity.
Well, it was pretty easy to access the area itself. Like whenever you were coming in to the left and right, they immediately had game rooms set up. And then half of the entire hall was games to play. Like unlike at Gen Con, where it's a whole nother thing, like a whole nother building, these are actually shared together. You've got, your booths and all your stuff here. And then literally just right there on the other side is where all the games are being played and all the minis are being painted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that about PAX, actually. It seems like there's a lot of people that actually just go there to play games, which is cool because, you'd think that's what you'd want, right?
Yeah, I know. But it's like when you're working, though, you don't get to actually play.
I spent the con walking around a lot and talking to a lot of indie creators, which was awesome. We're doing a new thing at Talsorian called 5 by Infinity, where we're putting out wild new crazy games, and we're also trying to publish wild new crazy games from awesome people. So I may have had a small amount of anxiety about going out and effectively trying to be a publisher for the first time, but it turns out that people really like to hear the phrase, "Hey, I'm starting to publish some games at Talsorian. I think you got some good stuff here. Let's talk about it." It turns out that you don't get, "You disgusting capitalist pig, get out of my booth." You get the, "Oh my God, have you seen the art on page 4?" Which is great because I want to see the art on page 4.
Yeah.
Don't worry, James. Like 5 Gen Cons down, you're gonna show up with a gold chain. You're gonna walk up to somebody in like the first look hall and be like, "Hey, kid, look. I can make you a star."
I want to get the star-shaped frames.
Yeah, there we go. Go.
And then they come up to you and, "Sir, there's no smoke." Oh, I'm sorry. It's you, James. I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was.
You're excused.
Yeah. Here, buy yourself some dice.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's cool,
that
man.
is the. Yeah, so it was great, and don't worry, I was broken of that anxiety in a good 20 minutes. And I got to spend the rest of the con talking to awesome people, and I got nothing to talk about on that other than if you happen to be a fantastic indie creator, email me.
Yeah, there you go. James Hutt at rtalsoriangames.com.
Maybe they have to figure that one out.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you don't say that one in the YouTube video.
I mean, what do you said?
Man.
Contact me, but don't contact me on my official email.
Contact me. You should be able to figure out my contact information.
James, you just need to put up a riddle. And if they really want to be published by R. Talsorian, they'll solve your riddle.
Yeah, geocaching or something,
Yeah.
I'll cut it out if you want, you silly man.
It's fine.
Okay.
The boat is sunk at this point.
Yeah.
Inbox.
It's all right. Cody, what's your insight on that same question?
I always try to do a full walk of the hall because, I don't do anything other than walk the hall and be at our booth. Which, I probably should break that habit at some point. But it was a really good show. There was a lot of different people there, a lot of indie creators, just like with booths showing off their stuff, outside of the usual, like, hey, we're, hanging out at IPR or the like. And it was nice to see that. I saw this very cool group that had a booth kind of close to ours they had a storytelling deck type thing where it was like a book that you went through and it helped you build your character's background. It was almost like like the life path system we use, but like as a session zero whole book experience kind of thing,
Nice.
which was interesting. I don't unfortunately recall their names, but
I remember it was cool too. I can't remember it either.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Is it like Mad Libs, but you're making your character's backstory?
No, it was more like sort of like guided questionnaire kind of thing. Like you go
really
through
cool.
and like, who was your friend as a child, that type of thing. Yeah, I'm always looking for interesting new games and stuff like that. It was interesting to see some of the folks I was a little concerned might not be there this year. Like there is a really interesting 5e derivative who they're doing American Revolution but as a 5e game. Which is just really wild to me, but I love to see them places, I love to see people doing weird stuff with gaming. Let's see, what was another thing that really stood out? There's a lot. I did a lot of business this show, actually. I was going around talking to a lot of people in like an official capacity more than I was just kind of wandering around. But I suppose
was that like a appointments, or was that just like, oh, this guy's here, might as well talk about business kind of thing?
Yeah, it was a lot of like, hey, we're looking for A, B, C. One of the nice things about Shadow Scars, because it's entirely from the ground up with us, we have a lot of opportunities to do support products and stuff.
Yeah.
So, for the first time, I'm in a place where I'm like, hey, what if we found like a t-shirt manufacturer or whatever? Hey, we can do, dice with different companies and, whatnot. So there's a lot of like, wow, that looks really cool. I wonder if they'll talk to me about doing that, but for us,
Yeah. Yeah, that's fun, man. It's cool that you guys get that opportunity to go to these conventions, see what people are creating, see collaborative opportunities and network like that. Because it sounds like you guys are kind of going in the direction of trying new things and networking with people and really like, there's no limitations to the ideas, right?
That's one of the reasons I'm really excited to see what James does with 5xI, because it's such a cool opportunity for us to do all the weird stuff that might not be like hyper mainstream applicable, but it's just like cool weird things that people came up with.
Yeah, I could imagine at like your local shop there's a 5xI like little section.
Yeah,
and it's all kinds of cool crazy things, and someone's like, what is this dinosaur game, what's going on here? You know what I mean? That's cool. I like that. Cool.
You should come on down to one, John.
Dude, I'm telling you, the FOMO hits me hard. I
have to walk the show floor for long stretches now. So you could come along. You can come right along.
Dude, I would love to.
You're welcome at our booth any show, anytime.
Thank you.
Wow. But you should go to Gen Con if you're going to pick one.
I know. It's one of those things. Definitely when
that's only a couple of months away, isn't it?
Yeah.
The airplane tickets are probably still in an okay place, too.
Yeah.
Don't make me
we need volunteers at the booth.
Yeah, definitely when my son is older, I'll 100% be going to every Gen Con with him. But I definitely... crowded places give me, I get, what is it called? Agoraphobia? Is that what it's called?
I've got it too these days.
Yeah, dude, it's just...
Plus, you might get trampled for some magic cards.
Yeah, which,
I was trying to not bring that up. I'm like, you got to be careful. Like, if a card pack is opening, dodge.
Dude. You don't want to get trampled for a meta that always shifts. So it's like it wasn't even good cards. You know what I mean? That's cool. So it was mostly work, but fun work stuff. You guys didn't really get a lot of time to play any games or anything. Did you guys check out Monster Fight Club's booth? Check out some Combat Zone. Have you guys played Combat Zone? recently?
I've not personally gotten the chance.
Okay.
Yeah, same here. But I got a good look at their booth this time around, and we also had John. He actually came over, and we actually set up the boat as we only do. We actually had it set up straight in our booth, even though they were on they weren't too far from us.
No,
Yeah, they were just down the way, and we had the boot. We had the boot set up there. We had the boat set up right there. The boot.
Yeah,
It was only about the boot.
The boot.
The boot and boot.
I hate all of you. Let me talk.
What about that?
I wish I could throw this at you. I would. You know I would. We had that set up, and we had people coming and constantly asking what it was about. So yeah, Monster Fight Club definitely had a solid presence with Combat Zone, and I still did not get the mini I was wanting to pick up.
Oh,
I didn't
no
get it
way.
at G-Con, and I didn't get it here either, and I totally forgot until like we were already leaving on the plane. I was like, damn it.
Which mini is it?
Michiko. Not Michiko.
Oh,
Yeah, Michiko. Yeah.
wait, isn't she in the gang? She's in the gang, right? She's in the Tiger Claws?
No,
Michiko.
that's Wakako.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, there is a Michiko.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I need to get it too. Is she? Do you know if she's considered an edge runner or a mercenary? I think she might be.
We do not have her statted in the in Danger Dossier. We do not have her statted in Danger Dossier.
Got it.
She's a limited con special, as I recall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because in Combat Zone, there's edge runners and all those other models, like periphery models, and you can use them as mercenaries in your main gang. So I'm wondering if she's like a Tiger Claws exclusive, or an Arasaka exclusive, or
I think it's just the model.
Just the model, so they don't even have rules.
It would be. I don't think so.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, it would be kind of silly to have Michiko Arasaka in the Combat Zone.
Hey, they got Wakako.
Well,
oh yeah,
I mean,
she wouldn't be born
from the vein of like,
Gosh,
if you killed her, you would never sleep for the rest of your life. You would live in fear.
Yeah, true. The Arasaka kill team is really strong in Combat Zone too.
They just wouldn't they wouldn't stop, you know? It would be
Yeah.
like 30 years on and you'd still be looking over your shoulder.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good, man. I'm glad you guys had a good time, a safe time, and you guys are fully recovered by now. What's up ahead on the schedule as far as fun and work? Not just work wise, but what inspired you when you got back? You're like, I'm gonna play this game, I'm gonna get into that thing, and whatever.
I'm actually right now I'm running a Marvel Multiverse role-playing game, which is fun. But I'm actually going to get a chance to play Household by I think it's Two Mice. It's an Italian company. It's this super like it's basically you play little fairies in like an abandoned house, and like every group of little people has this like society built in different rooms of the house, and they have like scissor blades that they use as swords and guns made out of skeleton keys and things like that. So I'm very excited about that one. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool. So you're like basically like the borrowers, or like little mice living in a house.
You're fighting like rats and giant spiders, and exploring the house, and like there's like cities there's like port cities in bathtubs, and like a city on top of a chandelier, like all this crazy stuff.
Oh, dude, it's the easiest terrain.
Chandelier, so
cool. We're actually gonna play. Everybody's gonna get 1/18 scale miniatures, and we're gonna play in our house.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could have a vacuum, a gallon of milk, and that's your terrain, dude.
I love that.
Yeah, that's fun. It's funny when people play Warhammer at home. That's what they put like Kleenex boxes and stuff like that. But this game will actually have that. Like that'll be of use in your game. That's cool.
Cody, I've got a bunch of in-scale Beetle toys. if you wanna spice it up with an enemy faction.
I'll have to see.
I'll let you borrow them.
That's cool.
Thank you.
James, you have any ideas of stuff that inspired you from PAX?
Oh man, I got my copy of Ultraviolet Grasslands, UVG
L
second edition.
UVG.
What is that?
I have no idea.
It's a fantastic looking book. It's a great read. I don't expect to ever get to play it,
Second edition.
but it's a hell of a read.
Oh,
been
yeah.
enjoying it a lot.
The art is
and then
beautiful.
Karen 12's is Improv for Gamers. This one's been my top of my list lately.
Oh,
Okay. Improv.
This
for
is
gamers.
just a fantastic. It's a game book basically. It makes you better at playing literally any game. So I recommend it to the players everywhere. I wish every player I played with read it.
do you know if it's out on audiobook? I definitely want to check that out.
I don't know if it's out on audiobook. I
Okay.
think you might have to. The layout is really easy to read, and the font is really like nice on the eyes. So
Got it. Readability is big.
the readability is big in it. So I do not know. I think it's Evil Hat. So
There's one book that I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it got recommended to me. The Monsters Know What They're Doing.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
that's a classic. That's a classic.
I remember
Dude.
when that was just a web page, man.
I gotta get into that. I love the ideas in that book for inspiration of, like, you know, the monsters know what they're doing. I think one of the examples was like there's a D&D monster that can stealth itself. So the book suggests that, okay, then this is an ambush creature. You're not going to walk in the dungeon and see it in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
You're going to walk in, there's going to be nobody in the room. You know what I mean? And then it'll
Yeah.
ambush the players.
Yeah.
So I like that.
The Herbalist Primer is also really good. This is just a book that sort of purports to be a
Yeah.
book of these are just all the plants in the world, right?
Yeah.
But then at the end of each section, it describes their magical properties, and it's very clearly almost an in-universe artifact for a setting that has this rich plant life and whatnot. And it's cool. I think this is the type of thing that would be really good for solo role play. In terms of you need a bunch of inspiration material to do solo role play effectively.
Yeah, there's
And,
sorry. There's a solo game out there called, I think, Apothecary Diaries.
Ooh, that would be really good for that.
Or just Apothecary. It's all about like Apothecaria. There we go. It's solo journaling about being an alchemist making potions for people.
Wow.
That would be a good.
I think I gotta do
crossover.
that. I gotta try that out.
It's on itch.io for $7, $6.50 actually on sale.
So it's also kind of a thing I've been getting into because the way I played tabletop role playing games as a kid is a big brother, little brother tabletop role playing game thing. So I played a lot of 2-player D&D. So for me, all these solo role playing games are just like you could homebrew that into a big brother, little brother game immediately.
Yeah.
Because they're already designed for one person. And with a little bit of extra, like, oh, I'm going to roll a dice and then we'll do a narrated story segment during different parts of this experience. But other than that, what are you doing today? You know, it's raining outside. What would you like to do?
Yeah. It
flows
might be a
together
better
really well.
way. It might be a better way to do duet games than, like, you know, other RPGs like D&D or I did Cyberpunk 2020 as a duet game for a very long time, and it worked out just fine. It's like focus on one character and his whole world is the world, and that worked out.
Cyberpunk Red is also kind of designed to be a big brother little brother game.
Yeah, it works just the same way as 2020 would.
Just as long as you imagine your the main character here is basically John Wick.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it, basically.
Yeah.
Rob, any inspiration you got from when you left PAX?
For me, I was actually sad because the booth I was hoping to catch there did not come that time. It was from Need Games because their game Fabula Ultima has really caught my eye. I grew up playing way too many JRPGs, so it caught my attention. I've already picked up their past like 2 books, which is just the core and then their high fantasy atlas. And I was hoping to get a little information on their techno fantasy atlas that's coming up. So I was hoping someone would be there so I could kind of, poke around the bush and see what I could learn in advance. But yeah, post PAX, that's been the only thing like sticking in my mind. And I've had the weirdest urge to give Mechton a run. After seeing the physical books, I was like, oh God, I'm sleeping on this. I got to stop.
That's one of those games every now and then in my comments section, at least one guy will be like, when are they going to do Mechton again?
Actually, we're in a super neat place because Mike is doing there are rumblings. There are rumblings of Mechton more seriously than there have been in the past. We're very excited.
Awesome.
That's the most we can say on that, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the most we're gonna say.
That's the most you'll get. I'm looking at this Fabula Ultima. It's literally called a TTJ RPG. And it looks like it's like for the PS5 or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the art's what caught my attention at first because I'm a stickler for that art style. And when I started to dig around it, and I'm like, this is weird, but it's fun. Everything's 2 dice rolls. It's all like if you have to do a ability check that is, let's say, you have to hold something up, but also hold it up for a long time. You would do the stat that relates to strength, and I believe it's will or endurance. It's one of those 2.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you had to only do something that was only strength, you would roll the strength dice twice. And its setup reminded me a lot of the stepped dice system that Year Zero does, like for Blade Runner RPG.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you go from D6s to D12s.
Huh.
But the crazier part to me that really gets my interest is when you're creating a character, you start at level 5. And you must choose levels in at least 3 classes, 3 different classes.
Oh, mandatory multi-classing?
Mandatory multi-classing, and you go to level 50.
Oh, wow.
Huh, okay.
And when you get a level in a class, you get a point, and you accrue points in that class, and then you can buy a skill from that class. Like one of them, I think this is me going off the top of my head. I've not looked in the book now for about a few weeks.
Yeah,
it is, I think, Weapon Master, and it takes 3 points to pick up a skill that just breaks armor. You just take out the armor. And the other weird thing about it that I liked that drew me in is there's no movement in the combat. The game automatically assumes
it's a JRPG.
The enemy can always reach you, and you can always reach the enemy. So in the things I've seen, it's literally people acting like it's that little battle screen. Enemies on the left, you're on the right, and just moving a bit, attack, pop back. But something like that I can have a lot of fun narratively with.
Dude,
there's a lot of other elements too.
You could do some really creative terrain building where you build like a little diorama so it looks like a JRPG battle screen, and you have like four minis on one side, the monsters on the other.
Whenever I was setting up a game for it, I was trying to make a game screen. Just literally, for lack of a better term, just like that one thing in like different settings and stuff. I was having fun with it for a while before I got too busy. Yeah. And I've gotten more now into moving away from like very in-depth VTTs. I've been itching for like proper theater of the mind lately. So I've kind of strayed away from that in the past month or 2 because it's just easier to prep for theater of the mind.
I got to actually get a look at Alchemy at this PAX. I had not actually seen what they were doing with that sort of VTT stuff, and that was very cool.
That's the new D&D one?
No, it's a bunch of it's system agnostic, but they're partnering with a bunch of companies for stuff. And it's a VTT, but it's a VTT for people who do more theater of the mind stuff. So rather than focusing on like battle mats and stuff, it focuses on like environmental sounds and like giving images that properly show the environment and stuff.
Oh yeah,
I got a friend who swears by it. He plays his Star Wars 5e game on it, and he used to be deep in with Foundry, which I used a lot. And he was like, "No, leave it. Try it out. Try alchemy now." And I'm like,
yeah.
"No."
It's this looks really interesting. Yeah, because I do that when I do VTTs. I'll have like a static image, and then like Foundry lets you like add like, you know, lighting effects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it looks like they got it says all your favorite creators are here: Free League, World of Darkness, Pathfinder, Call of Cthulhu. I even see a Star Trek in here. So yeah, it looks like they got Dune as well. So they got some cool stuff here. That looks interesting.
Yeah.
I'm watching them for when they put Blade Runner RPG on there. I want to see what they do.
Ooh,
that'd be interesting.
That would be interesting. Yeah. Well, hey, you guys are out there networking. Talk to them about a little cyberpunk action. Yeah. Oh, looks good. Looks good. All right. Well, hey, anything else you guys want to add before we wrap up this show? Anything you guys want to talk about that you want to put out there into the community? Or do you think we covered all bases?
Oh, is this the right place to talk about the next episode of our thing, John?
Yeah,
Pimp our own content?
Yeah, actually, just to let everybody know, James and I have taken a little bit of a hiatus because of the, you know, stuff, holidays, whatever, from Night City Council, and we will be doing another episode. It will be the final episode of Night City Council, not because of any weird reason other than, you know, I think we've done a lot for all the Cyberpunk Red DLCs that are out there. We might have missed like the last two or something like that. But other than that, we've answered so many of your questions. I think over 200 questions we've answered. Oh, and by the way, somebody hit me up online. They're going to make a little document of all the questions and answers we did from all of our episodes,
cool.
dude. And they're like, are you okay with that? Are you kidding me?
Cool
yeah, of course.
Of course.
Yep. They reached out to us as well. That's the same person I hit you two up about. Yeah, they're busy and they do really good work. They remember the Night Market Index?
Yeah. Oh, that's that.
Yeah,
Same people.
Same people.
Ah.
So they are
cool.
very in depth with their setup with it, and yeah, they. I'm curious to see what they do. I'm curious to see what they do.
We'll definitely put that out there, you know. And James and I. That doesn't mean James and I are done doing a show, because you might see us on the tabletop. Hint, hint.
You might.
Ooh. Ooh.
But we're also. It's a final episode, so we're not, you know, going out quietly. We don't play like that.
No.
I think it's the right time to talk about it right now. Actually,
Let's do it.
We're gonna have an exclusive deep dive on FBCs for our final episode. Full body conversions. We'll be showing art that we haven't shown anyone else.
Ooh, yeah.
That'll be the place to get it. The JonJonTheWise YouTube channel. You got to go there to find it this time.
Gotta go. Yeah, and that's one of those things.
Is it a big advertisement for a product that you could purchase with your hard-earned money? Yes. But was every other episode that? Yes.
Yeah. But
I have been getting
it was also free DLCs, super free DLCs.
True. Super free.
Yeah.
I had been getting asked, hey, when are you going to start teasing the full body conversions? And I'm like, no. And I was just waiting for y'all to
more
announce
than a
it.
tease.
Oh,
a
yeah.
bit less than a meal.
I'm looking forward to see what y'all do.
It was one of the questions that first dropped when the codex. Geez, I've been playing Warhammer too much. The core rulebook dropped. People were like, "Yeah, I know." They're like, "Where's the power armor? Where's the all the stuff from Maximum Metal?" And so, yeah, I'm sure people are gonna love seeing some of that stuff. So I'm excited about it. Yeah.
Anyway,
anything else from you guys? Or sorry, James, please go on.
You know, and Christmas is coming up, so you know, happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays, for sure. Yeah, from us to you. Cody, Rob, anything you guys want to mention?
I've said everything I could probably get away with saying.
There you go. I get it out of you.
So at least on my side, as you all know, 12 Days of Gearmas is out. I've already heard people completely confused about the Zonda, which is great. I want people to be wondering how the heck that thing's held together. So yeah, that's out there for everyone to snag. You can get it on our website, our I'm sure people are curious where the Cyberpunk Edgerunners mission kit is, and I'm just going to say patience is a virtue. Let's just say it's going to be a very good year next year for all things Cyberpunk. Other than that, that's all I really want to throw in. I am looking forward to what's coming in the new year. It's going to be a busy year for our town. It's going to be a good year for our town.
Yeah, I play tested some of that stuff, and I'm excited for it too. It's a lot of good stuff coming out. I love it. All right. Yeah. Hey, thank you guys so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the hard work that you guys do for the community, for the game, and it's exciting to see you guys trying these new things, and I'm excited to see where it all gets us, where at the end of it. So good luck. Don't work too hard. And we'll see you guys on the next one. All right. Happy holidays.
Next one.